Today, I'm going to explain a drama film called Indecent Proposal. This morally dubious film puts audiences at the forefront of its ethical dilemma. It is designed to take the audience along with the characters as they find themselves stuck between a rock and a hard place, with just enough absurdity to leave them asking, what would I do in this situation? Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. Love can be a picturesque thing, but then again, the image of heartbreak can be just as beautiful in a tragic or derisive way. That's why in the beginning of the film, we see a love story near its end at a picturesque scene by the sea. David Murphy sits under the rain by the pier, lamenting his broken marriage with Diana. Meanwhile, Diana sits on a bus on the way to the very same pier. She remembers something that someone once said to her. If you want something very badly, set it free. If it comes back to you, it's yours forever. If it doesn't, it was never yours to begin with. She tells herself that she knew that she was David's and he was hers. She and David met in a very mundane way. It was in high school, and David was a senior and she was a freshman. When she was 19, David proposed to her on the pier, the one that he was sitting on at that moment. Both their parents were against their marriage, so the two of them eloped. Since then, the two of them have lived in an inexpensive house. David graduated from grad school and went on to get a job at an architecture firm. His free time was spent working on a design of his own, their dream house. He intended to catch the architecture world's attention by making the house of his. Diana took a job in real estate and sold houses to help with the expenses. The couple was nowhere near perfect, but they loved each other deeply and they were very happy. They weren't particularly rich either, so they usually spent their time going around town with David teaching Diana how to appreciate architecture. Evidently, both David and Diana are ones to give in to reckless impulses. Perhaps it was the optimism of their youth that accounted for this risky mindset. What's more is that the couple had an elated feeling that their love was invincible, and together, they felt as if they could overcome anything. Love had a way of making life feel easy when it was anything but. Though if you ask any pragmatic person, they'll be quick to tell you that love can lose its charm after too many bumps in life and an unsatisfied stomach. Eventually, the two of them invested everything they have in constructing David's special project. Diana found a beachfront property in Santa Monica where the house could be built. However, midway through construction, the economic recession of the 90s began, leaving Diana without any houses to sell and with David retrenched from his job at the firm. Because of the harrowing financial circumstances they found themselves in, the couple was left in desperate need of $50,000 in order for them to keep the land they had just bought in Santa Monica. The couple tried to keep things afloat for a while, but with no real solution to their money problem, David was forced to approach his father and borrow $5,000. However, this still left them in need of $45,000 more. One evening, Diana began to talk in her sleep out of excessive stress. David, who was wide awake at that point, spent the entire night ruminating on an idea. Resolved, he woke up Diana. Soon after, the couple found themselves in a casino in Las Vegas. There, they eagerly gambled away their money in hopes of winning the much-needed $50,000. That evening, the couple was on a winning streak. Their youth gave them the optimism needed to carry out the continuous risk, so they gambled all night to their heart's content. Despite the odds that were up against them, the couple relied on that unyielding feeling that they will prevail through anything. Their romantic ideals carried them through that evening, just like they did throughout their entire lives. However, ideals alone were not enough to guarantee luck in Las Vegas. At some point during the evening, David was busy playing a game of craps. Many of their winnings that night stemmed from that game. While David was quintupling their money, Diana was out visiting the shops by the lobby. As she's exploring the shops, she catches the attention of billionaire John Gage. Immediately, Gage is enthralled by Diana's beauty. Their gazes meet briefly, but it's enough for Gage to follow Diana in one of the shops. Still marveling at the luxurious items, Diana finds an elegant black dress. She places the dress over her body and looks at herself in the mirror. At this point, Gage speaks from behind Diana, who had no idea that John was watching her. He offers to buy Diana the dress, making it obvious that he's attracted to her. Diana refuses, saying that the dress was for sale and not her. Feeling uncomfortable with the entire exchange, Diana leaves. It seemed to Diana that Gage was the type of man who believes he can buy anything. This kind of belief opposed the two lovers' romantic life. For Gage, everything is a conquest. Whether it was in business or in love, it can be dealt with using the same way, through money. Diana rejoins David as he celebrates the earnings he accumulated in such a short amount of time. Later that evening, David and Diana count their winnings, which amount to about $25,000. The joyful couple revels in their newly won money, with David throwing the bills at Diana, who is rolling all over them on the bed. In celebration of their victories that night, the couple made love on the bed strewn with several dollar bills. The next evening, however, they didn't have the same kind of luck. Actually, they found it increasingly difficult to win. By the end of the night, the couple had less money than when they came in. The two of them retreat to the casino's diner for a brief respite. With only $4,100 left, they contemplate whether or not they should still play. They decide to flip a coin in order to come to a decision. However, it was evident that both of them still wanted to play. And not long after that, the couple loses all of their money due to their recklessness. Life really had its way of kicking an idealistic person straight in their teeth if they start being convinced of their own invulnerability. For the first time in their lives, their highbrow idealism didn't come through for them. They may not realize it yet, but this is an earth-shattering event that's already coming to fracture the way they perceive things. As they are leaving the casino, the couple notices a commotion at another table. Billionaire John Gage is playing poker using golden poker chips which are equal to $10,000 for each chip. Gage had been losing several games in a row, but when he sees Diana in the crowd watching him, he wins his first hand of the night. Believing that Diana brought him good luck, he approaches her and David. He asks permission from David if he could borrow his wife for the game. Though David replies that it would be up to Diana, he still encourages her to do it, believing that there'd be no harm in doing so. David's carefree attitude in life carries over when dealing with other men interacting with his wife. He treats Gage's gesture as a harmless act, mainly because of his own confidence and trust in Diana. Diana chooses to comply, and she clumsily assists Gage with the game. After losing another hand, Gage asks Diana what game she's familiar with. Diana replies that she played dice. Upon hearing this, Gage looks to one of his assistants and says a single word, 1. The assistant then springs into action and arranges a check for $1 million. The casino has it called in, and they prepare a glass box with the golden poker chips worth $1 million. Gage and Diana move to the craps table. Diana is set to roll the dice. She needs either a 7 or an 11. With everybody in the casino watching, she throws the dice. Both dice face up to reveal a 5 and a 2. The entire crowd erupts in a rapturous uproar, and Diana runs to embrace David, feeling overjoyed by the once-in-a-lifetime experience. The event incites a thrilling feeling from Diana, and this is something she can't help but enjoy. It's not every day you even get to gamble with those golden chips. While money can't exactly buy contentment, it can buy you all sorts of thrills. At this point, Gage once again approaches the couple and invites them to celebrate the $1 million they helped him win. Gage even offers to pay for their hotel accommodation. Believing there'd be no harm in doing so, the couple accepts Gage's offer. David and Diana stay in a hotel room they can't even dream of affording. Moments later, the couple gets a knock on the door. It's a man named Mr. Shackelford. He hands David a red box that's sent by Gage for Diana. David opens the box to reveal the black dress that Diana had her eyes on the night before. Diana is surprised, telling David that it costs $5,000. That evening, they go to join Gage at his party. For the entire night, the couple spends their time with Gage. Near the end, Gage gives the couple a proposal. He will give them $1 million. In exchange, Gage will have Diana for one night. Naturally, David and Diana are furious at Gage's suggestion. They both refuse, but Gage gets the feeling that they would eventually change their mind. Gage goes to leave for a meeting, leaving the Murphy couple in a bitter mood. This indecent proposal shook the both of them and their relationship to the core. It leaves them with a sick and foreboding feeling. On one hand, $1 million is more money than they'll ever accumulate. They have things to pay off, problems to solve, and a recession to face. But at the same time, it'll come at the cost of Diana's body. It's not an idea that a woman and her husband can just come around to. During the night, David and Diana find that they can't sleep. Both of them are still thinking about Gage's proposal. After pretending to be asleep for quite some time, the couple finally decides to talk about the issue. In the end, they decided that it would be the better choice to accept because it would be a good thing for their future. Diana assures David that she would be his. Gage will only have her body and not her mind nor her heart. Of course, this is a difficult situation to parse. People like to think that there's no price to them, and while that may be true, life and its hurdles can easily complicate things. Many would claim that they'll never agree to such a thing, but when a lump sum solution presents itself, it's hard to say what one would truly do. The following morning, David contacts an old lawyer friend of his named Jeremy Green. David reports that they've already accepted the proposal before going to him. Furious, Jeremy tells David that he could have negotiated at least $2 million and not just one. Eventually, Jeremy makes his way to the casino with a contract written up that had very specific terms. With this, Diana is set to go with Gage. Before leaving, David kisses Diana goodbye. David retreats to a nearby bar with Jeremy. While there, he's haunted by the cheap lights and the tacky animatronics that surround him in Las Vegas. Suddenly, he goes into a feverish state as he begins to realize how he truly feels about letting Diana go. After a dramatic change of heart, David sprints towards Gage's hotel room. Unfortunately, he is too late, and Gage and Diana have already left in a helicopter. For the rest of the night, David's reduced to a frenzied yet lifeless state. Meanwhile, Diana is taken to Gage's private yacht. Here, she talks defiantly toward Gage as she feels resentful that she's put in such a situation. This is when Gage takes out a coin and proposes a toss. If he gets tails, then he would let Diana go and consider their agreement voided. But if he gets heads, then they would continue with their arrangement. Gage tosses the coin, which ends up being heads. Gage's character revolves around his clever manipulations and his desire to conquer and possess. Instead of reconsidering things when Diana acts defiantly towards him with her idea that love can't be bought, Gage is all the more motivated to prove her wrong. It is the classic fact and trope that he can't have her that makes Gage want Diana more. The following morning, Diana finds David in their hotel room, looking helpless and defeated. David gets up, and without a word, the two of them embrace and kiss. They profess their love for one another and they go home, trying to forget that any of it ever happened. Upon returning home, they discover that their property had recently been foreclosed and resold. They inquire who bought their property, but since it was privileged information, it couldn't be disclosed to them. Angered, David makes a scene and throws out papers in the office. The Murphy couple leaves in a rage. Over time, their past involvement with Gage begins to haunt them. This affects David the most, who keeps bringing it up because it could not stop bothering him. It isn't long before David starts accusing Diana of seeing John Gage. Things are heading south, and they're heading south fast. While David initially agreed to the whole arrangement, it's hard to blame him for unraveling. After all, he and his wife were taken advantage of by a powerful man who considers $1 million chump change. Still, it's not fair to put the entire blame on Diana since the decision was mutual. One day, Diana decides to act to find a way to buy back their property. But since they now possess $1 million, Diana's much more confident about things. She enlists the help of her friend to find out who bought their property. But to her shock and rage, she discovers that it's just John Gage. She hurries to a restaurant where Gage is having a lunch meeting. After storming inside, she pulls off the table cover, spilling the food and drinks all over the businessman. Gage ushers Diana outside, where the two of them talk. When Diana confronts Gage about buying their property, Gage feigns ignorance, saying that he simply saw a business opportunity. Gage tries to make advances on Diana, but she refuses and leaves. The conquest of John Gage doesn't stop at the casino. It never did. The problem with sleazy people like Gage is that they have too much money and too little empathy. To him, it hardly matters if he's ruining someone's life. Everyone is just a plaything for Gage, and if he can't bend them to his will, then he'll bend everything else around them. Returning home, Diana reports what happened to David. But the moment she mentions seeing Gage, David flings a wine bottle to the wall without hearing out what Diana had to say. Despite her attempts at explanation, David's jealousy got the better of him, and he refuses to believe his wife. He demands to know if she enjoyed the night she had with him, but Diana refuses to discuss it. Because of their argument, David leaves the house and doesn't return. David stays with Jeremy, his lawyer friend. Jeremy receives a call from Diana, who's looking for David. Jeremy tries to convince both of them to talk, knowing full well that the two of them still love each other. Diana tries reaching out to David. However, David refuses to speak with her. This must be disenchanting for the lovers, who spent their lives believing that their love was invincible and that nothing could get to them. It just goes to show that you'll have regret waiting at your doorstep when you start getting your priorities backward. The Murphy couple separate for the next few weeks, with David staying at a poor, rusty shack. Both of them feel the weeks go by in a slog, feeling lost without each other. One day at work, Diana's boss happily reports that the recession had just ended and what's more is a wealthy billionaire is waiting at the front office to buy a house. Of course, Diana is annoyed to see that it was just Gage. Diana refuses to assist him, but her boss threatens to fire her if she doesn't. And so, Diana and Gage go around under the pretense of buying a house. The entire afternoon Gage keeps making advances on Diana, and she turns all of them down. Eventually, they drive by a large estate that's significantly more expensive and already owned. When they enter, Diana realizes that it's Gage's property already. Despite Gage's relentless attempts at getting Diana to fall for his charms, Diana's yet to give in. With all the money he has, Gage should take a lesson or two on how to take no for an answer. While it's clear that money can't buy you common decency, Gage should still try it out. Just like how the Murphys should give couple counseling a go instead of letting their problems stew and fester. Because of the free time she now had in her hands, Diana becomes a teacher for citizenship. One afternoon during her class, John Gage enters the classroom and sat in. The mesmerized students could only watch as John Gage flaunts both his adoration towards Diana and his lack of awareness over the concept of time and place. Afterward, John takes Diana back to the mansion from the other day and tells her a story. He tells her about an encounter he had with a beautiful girl when he was young and how he failed to approach her because he was too shy back then. Coyly, he finishes by telling her that he never wants something like that to happen again. Finally, fooled by his charms, Diana and Gage begin a romance. It's hard to understand how that story's supposed to apply to his situation with Diana. There's a difference between being shy and being a no-good cad with no respect for boundaries, autonomy, and other people's marriages. But since Diana's emotionally vulnerable, she lets go of her wits, common sense, and the better part of herself to give in to the man who's there for her during the difficult time in her life, as if she's forgotten that he's the one who caused it in the first place. Gage now got what he wanted, and it seemed that he was able to prove that he can, in fact, buy love. Meanwhile, David grows more depressed when he remembers happy memories of Diana. Eventually, he tries to get Diana back. One evening, David follows Gage and Diana to a hotel. As they make their way to the entrance, David makes his appearance. Soaked in the rain, David tries to speak with Diana before making a scene and punching Gage. He falls to the ground and ends up unconscious. Shackelford takes David to his shack. For the next few weeks, David tried to get his life back together. He applied as an architecture professor despite being overqualified for the job. Here, he thoroughly enjoys teaching and proves to be good at it while effectively inspiring his students. One day, Jeremy visits him right after one of his classes ended. He reports to David that Diana wants a divorce. Later on, Diana and Gage are at an animal auction. Gage is stuck in a bidding war for a hippopotamus. Everyone believes that Gage had one up until David enters the scene. Surprisingly, he offers to buy the hippo for $1 million, giving up Gage's money. By giving up the money, David's proving a point that the money means nothing to him without Diana. And by giving up the money, he's letting go of any connection that ties him back to Gage, and showing that he's grown self-sufficient. Without having anything to thank Gage for, the man can stay where he belongs, which is in David's memories. He approaches Diana, and Gage allows them to have a one-on-one talk. David apologizes for his previous behavior, explaining why he acted the way that he did. He tells Diana of what he learned, that couples stay together not because they forget the hurt they've caused each other, but because they learn to forgive one another for them. He admits that he was afraid that Gage was the better man, but now he knows that he isn't. All Gage had was money. With these words, David signs the divorce papers and leaves. As for Gage, he watches their emotionally charged moment from afar with a regretful look on his face. It's at this moment that Gage lost. Even after going through the lengths he took to have Diana, something in him realized that it wasn't enough, and it will never be enough. He finally understands something that was bigger and deeper than all of the things he knows. Diana, Gage, and Shackelford drive home. Gage begins to notice how Diana felt, so he started talking about $1 million club. Despite his confusion, Shackelford smoothly plays along with his master's charade and confirms its existence, implying that the club has other women like Diana who Gage won over through $1 million. Diana sees through the farce and immediately understands that Gage was making it up so that she'd be offended and leave. She realizes that Gage knows what Diana truly felt and was willing to give up. With that, she kisses Gage one last time, thanking him for letting her go. It's not clear why Diana's thanking Gage for this like he owns her, but it is what it is. Diana's easily swayed by men who show a semblance of decency, it seems. Before she leaves, Gage gives Diana the coin that he had flipped that night on the yacht for good luck. As Diana runs after the bus, Shackelford asks Gage why he'd let her go. Gage admits that he now understands that Diana will never look at him the same way that she looks at David. In the bus, Diana looks at Gage's lucky coin and discovers that it was double-headed. Diana goes to the pier where David had proposed to her to remember their love so they can start over. To her surprise, David's already there, lamenting over what he thought was the end of their marriage. She approaches him, and the two profess their love for one another once again, in the same place they had been engaged. Overall, this film is a reaffirmation of romantic values. Perhaps it's why that the movie can sometimes come off as cliché. However, it delivers its themes well. That love is intangible, unyielding, and cannot be bought by money. It also repeatedly shows the pitfalls of being impulsive and how life will definitely put you in place for that. Still, it stresses the importance of clinging to your values and your priorities. And while that won't guarantee an easy life, it helps you foster one that has little room for regret. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.